And we are live. What's up, beasties? It's me. It's Triple B, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another episode of Beast Friends Forever. Woo! I'm excited for tonight. I have one of my bestest beasties on tonight for a return. One of my few return guests, and that is because he has got a lot of things in the works. A lot of, I was going to say pans on the fire. Is that the right saying? I don't think it is. But anyway, he's a busy man, and we've got a lot of exciting things to talk about. But I'm always excited to talk to this person because they are just a fantastic human, a gem in the bookish and indie space, someone who supports so many people. You'll see him in my live streams, in the comment sections of my videos, and on social media because he's just awesome. So I'm excited to have him here so that you guys can hear about all the cool things he has going on. Let me bring him on. Help me welcome to the stage my friend, Adam Bassett. How are we, my friend?
I told myself I was going to tell you this before we started talking. My last name is not Bassett.
Oh, dude. Why?
You've been saying it wrong for like a year straight.
How do you say it?
Just Bassett. It's just the Americanized version.
It's so why that's so much easier. Why do I make things hard?
There's no E at the end.
Dang it. Okay, so it's Bassett.
Yes.
Okay, I got it now. It's in here.
I'm so sorry about that.
It's fine. We
jumped on very close to the start time, and we started talking about other stuff.
Yes. The public shame will help me remember.
Yeah, we got to have a good cold open.
Oh, of course. Dang it! All right, it happens. But usually it happens with a name where that's like not understandable. Or it is understandable. That's a pretty simple last name.
I will say I was talking with Philip Chase this past weekend. That video will go live, I think, tomorrow. And he went in immedially saying Bassett as well. So it's not just you. Like it happens.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only
honestly.
one. I think it's because you're so fancy. You've got like a fancy personality. So it just seems like it should be like, I don't know. Or I just don't know
how to interpret that.
In a good way. Let's see. People are saying they have errors messages. Well, that's not good. Let me see. Can you guys let me know if you can hear and see us now?
It could also just be a YouTube thing, like maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like they said some other ones. Oh yeah, because it says we don't have anybody in here. Even though there's multiple people in the chat. Lovely. Well, we'll just roll with it, and hopefully this works. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna go on my my personal YouTube account and see what happens. If you're watching this on replay, we appreciate you. We're just seeing what's going on. Hopefully there is a replay of this. Let's see. Switch account. Let's see what's going on here. Of course, it shows an ad. Come on now. Okay, I can see us.
Yeah, so
hopefully they can get back in.
On my phone, it said there was an error, tap to retry, and then I tapped and it seemed to start working.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
Interesting.
And I can see the chat, so hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll work then. But we'll just roll with it. At least I know it's recording. Worst case, everybody can watch on replay. So if you watch this on replay, Daniel, J.A., and John, thank you guys for being in there and trying to figure it out. So hopefully you guys can get back in. But if you are watching this in the chat, we appreciate you. And if you're watching on replay, we also appreciate you. In the description, before we get going here, Adam's Kickstarter, his books, everything is linked in there. So be sure to check it out. And give Adam some support. All right, it sounds like it's working now. All right, J.A., I'm glad you're in, man. Hopefully everybody else gets back in too. So you have a lot going on, man. So I think what we'll start with, why don't you just quick tell everybody about the books you've already written in general, and then talk about the projects you have in the works, and then we'll kind of go into more detail with your Kickstarter.
Yeah. So I have 2 books out, and I actually also earlier this year had a short story published in an anthology. So I'll just
Ooh,
share all
nice,
of
man.
those.
Heck yeah.
Last time I was on the show, we talked about Digital
Yeah.
Extremities
Yep.
and Animus Paradox, which
Freaking banger covers. Look at those.
thank you.
I love them.
Your lighting is so much better. Yeah, so those are my cyberpunk books. They are very different, so if you're into cyberpunk, read the descriptions very closely.
Yes, but they're very good too.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, Digital Extremities was kind of like an exploration of what does cyberpunk look like in rural and remote communities
Yes,
for
I
like
love
regular
that.
people. And then Animus Paradox was like, while editing that, my narrator was like, hey, you mentioned this one thing in one of the short stories. What if you wrote a novel about that? So I was like, I guess I'm writing a novel about that. And that's what Animus Paradox became. And one of those short stories from the Digital Extremities collection went into Rare, which is
that's a cool cover.
Yeah, I really like it too.
Yeah.
It's from Alex Parker Publishing. They
Okay.
published it's basically just a collection of short stories all about secrets. And so there's a big range of like science fiction and fantasy and horror and
that's cool.
just like a huge range of stuff in here. And it all, like every story, either subtly or not so subtly, revolves around keeping some kind of secret.
Wow, that's
So
cool. Is that on Amazon? That one?
yes.
Okay. I'll add a link to that in the description too, in case anybody wants to check it out.
Cool. So yeah, that's everything that I have out right now. Is that, and I've got, Chris has already kind of touched on it, but I have my first fantasy novel coming out early next year in February. And I have a Kickstarter going on right now, which is actually for a nonfiction book for authors and GMs and anybody who's interested in world building and map design for fiction. Basically, looking at how can we use science, history, anthropology, and like practical design for real maps to improve all those things. So it's been a weird like year or so as that project got finished up, and I'm bouncing between like doing research and writing this nonfiction book about how we can make fictional worlds cool, and also this fantasy book kind of sprung on me out of nowhere, and I could not get it out of my head until I wrote it down.
Well, I Beasties, I've been lucky enough to get access to these a little early, and they are both awesome. Let me tell you, for different reasons. One, the Kickstarter, the map book. Oh yeah. Well, obviously, but I am, as you know, I am going on the writing journey myself, and I am loving your nonfiction book. It's so helpful for me already. Awesome. Like, and I love it. And then I can see why the fantasy idea book got stuck in your head, because holy smokes, that's pretty cool. It's very inventive. And I mean, the cover is beautiful. We'll talk about that when you're ready, because I know you've got a copy. You can show off people how good that looks. I can
just show you right now if you
All right, let's see it.
Okay. I mean, you've already teased it, so.
I know. Oh, guys, look at that. And how about that name, Copper Skin Oaken Lungs, which I thought that was a cool name, but now that I'm reading it, I get even more where it comes from. It's even cooler. So, oh man. So why don't you touch on what that book is about in your own words, however you want to describe it, and then we'll dive deep into the Kickstarter.
Sure. So, Copper Skin Oaken Lungs was something that kind of arose to me from. I am a big fan of Eurovision. I've really gotten into it over the past couple of years. It's this international music contest that takes place across Europe primarily. And one of the songs that's most recent edition was Burman Laimi by Tautumetas, which is a ethno-pop Latvian song. And I just fell in love with it. And the more I listened to it, the more I enjoyed it, and I began to like really dig into the lyrics as well a little bit, and like look up the translations and all that kind of stuff, and those really stuck with me, to the point where I was like, dang, this kind of sounds like a fantasy story. And the music video has all of the performers like dressed up as like woodland fairies, and
Oh, no way.
like it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole vibe.
Oh, yeah.
And like that little like seed of an idea kind of became something else. I would not call this a like Latvian fantasy story or anything along those lines, but it still has those roots. I've still tried to honor some of those inspirations of like, the names of the characters are all based on or are Latvian names, and
Cool.
a lot of the language in the
Yeah,
story,
I wondered. Okay.
a lot of the language is taken from Latvian or inspired by it and modified in some way. Like a big thing in the story are like the different times of day, and that's kind of like a simplified version of the times of day in when you're looking at the Latin hours, from like the time of day when you would have breakfast and lunch and dinner and like work and night and all those different things. I kind of simplified that down and then like brought in some Latvian like words for those things to mix into it and make it all a little more cohesive. And so like it became its own thing, but that's sort of where it begins. And I have not even begun to answer your actual question of like, what is the story? I'm so sorry.
No, I love it, man. I was gonna ask you next how you came up with the idea anyway.
Yeah,
So
I'm answering them out of order, I guess, is all I'm doing.
that's okay. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, it's all good. So yeah, I mean that's sort of where it came from, and then the story of what it became is this post-apocalyptic fantasy where basically the main characters live in the last town in like known existence, the old town, and it is all walled off. You can.
Oh, I love that
map right there. I'm really
which you made yourself, right?
I did, yes. I drew all those trees individually by hand.
Dude, it's so good, man.
Thank you. But yeah, so it takes place all within the old town, and basically is like, this is a small community of roughly 150 people, and they all kind of have to figure out how to get along, how to share resources. When resources are limited, how do you ration that? And that really becomes sort of the main problem that they run into is, as like the whole part one is sort of like setting the tone. And then as we get into part two, there's 4 of them, things really start to go awry. They start to become challenging. Like it's winter time, resources are becoming scarce, and there is a complication that gets thrown into all of it. And there begins to become rising tensions. And amid all of this is this like deadly cloud, mist, whatever you want to call it, that surrounds the town. And there's a lot of mystery about what it is. It's like this magical apocalypse that has they've been able to like hold it off, but that's all they've been able to do. It's consumed everything else, turned it to ash. And the story involves some very curious young women who like to sort of ask questions about these things. And I almost, while writing, was talking about it to myself, because that's what I do to myself sometimes. I'm explaining it to myself as like Chekhov's dystopia, where it's like, we're going to use that. Like, there's this giant mass of darkness. Don't go near it. Don't touch it. Someone's going to touch it.
Someone's going to have to. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what the story is. It's this sort of post-apocalyptic fantasy where, these are three siblings, and they're gonna get up to some shit, and they're gonna try and like get through it whatever in the best way they can. It's tough to say more because I'm trying not to spoil too much.
You don't want to spoil too much, but that's pretty much, that captures it good. Yep. And it is very cool. You painted so far. I mean, I'm only like 20 some percent in, but like you did a good job with like the characters and a little slice of life, so that you get invested in the characters right away. But you'd still, and it feels like a little like comfy with them. But then there's this ominous dread building up because that cloud is out there surrounding it. So you did a good job of like making me get invested in the characters, but then also making it be like, oh gosh, what's gonna happen with all that? So it's awesome. You guys get pumped and look at that cover. I mean, come on. Come on.
I'm very fortunate to have worked with Sylvia Gorchakova on that cover. She did an amazing job.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
And that was like one of my goals, because this was so inspired by some like Latvian folklore and music and all these things. I wanted to bring in an artist who was Latvian, and that's cool. She's living in Spain right now, but she's Latvian as well. So
that's so awesome.
There was one point at which, during the cover design process, where she was like, "Oh, I just added like these Latvian symbols to their clothing. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yeah,
you're like, yes,
absolutely,
please.
Do it."
That's awesome. How did you find her? Did you like already know of her and that you knew that she was Latvian, or did you have to kind of do some research and find artists that were?
Because I knew that I wanted someone who was Latvian to work on this project, I went and like looked for Latvian artists just to see.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people will say like, I'm a French artist, or I'm based in Colorado, or whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, I do that. I'm based in Vermont.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like that information is available. I just didn't know who had that information. I ended up kind of stumbling across Sylvia on, I think it was ArtStation.
Okay.
And I just sent an email, and maybe like a month later I got a response, and it was just, they made it very easy. It was like, I was very fortunate to have stumbled upon them, and that it didn't turn into a scam, because it very easily could have been.
Right, that's very true. Yeah. It worked out well.
Yeah, but no, they're fantastic.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. Now, it's not even out yet or anything, but is this world something that you want to write more in, or is this kind of going to be a one-shot thing?
Yeah, so you can see on the spine there's already a little Roman one.
I like that.
Yeah, so the same thing happened with this book, where I could not get this story out of my head, so I had to start writing it. That is what the sequel has become.
Okay.
It began as I have a direction I could take this if people want more. And then I kept thinking about it. And now
so you're like, I want more.
Yeah, now I'm like 15,000 words into a sequel.
Oh, nice.
I'm already drafting it. I'm currently going through a revision on part 1.
Okay.
Just to kind of like nail that down a little bit more.
Yeah.
I like to, with this story, the way that it's formatted, like, it's not broken up into like short chapters so much as it's broken up into like longer parts.
Yeah.
Kind of like novelette length in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so because of that, the way that I've been writing it, both of them really were like this, or I guess, but the first one was like this. The second one is going to be, I think, like this, where I'll write a little sporadically, where like I know things that are coming up and I'll make notes about them in that part. But I'll finish them chronologically. Like part one, I finished, all of those notes and then flushed them all out, and it has mostly turned into a complete section. And now I'm currently like going through and cleaning it up. I wouldn't even call it editing because it's not like a complete section, but
Yeah.
it is complete enough to the point where I have to like now go and like fine tune some things and get things in a more complete state. And then I'll go through and do the same thing for part 2 and so on.
Very nice.
So
Ooh, that's exciting stuff, man.
That said, the first book was intended to be a standalone, and I'm pretty convinced that it still is.
Okay.
I think the second book will also be a standalone. I kind of have to feel it out a little bit more, but that is the plan.
Okay.
So it's not going to be like you're going to be left on a cliffhanger.
Right. It tells the complete story.
Yeah, I really, I mean, I think I may have talked about this with you last time, but I really enjoy complete stories.
Yeah.
Like I get very stressed out about series because I just don't have time for them. Like as I'm sure you have experienced as well.
Yeah.
We all love big series because we get to spend more time in the places we enjoy. But at the same time, like I struggle to pick up a new author or a new book just because if I hear it all, it's part of a series, because then it's like, oh, well, do I have time for another like 7 book, whatever? Like,
I know. It's tough.
Yeah. So I like every book that I write actually so far every book I've written has been like concluded at the end.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that changes. I don't plan on it, but I mostly am interested in telling the story.
Yeah.
And if a story demands that, I will do it. It's just.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So real quick here, J.A. said very nice to the cover. He digs it.
Appreciate it.
And then EJ Corum is here. What's up, EJ? A Bearded Book Beast channel member. Thank you for being here, EJ. Appreciate it. All right. So let's switch gears and talk about the Kickstarter. So I'm going to share my screen so we can show off the sweet full cover for the Kickstarter book. Oh, let's see. Where is it at? That's not it. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Yeah, I don't have the proof of this one yet. It's going to be a little bit longer.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. All right, can you see it? Oh, yeah, there it is. Well, I got quite the background going on there.
I was going to say.
Oh, all right, let's make this background a little less wild so people can focus on what's important right now. Let's see. Let's find just a nice, plain color here. Boom. There we go. All right. So there is the awesome full cover. Look at that. I love it. So let's talk about this, the inspiration for this cover and how that went first, because I think it's so cool that a lot of times nonfiction books can kind of have a little more bland cover a lot of the time, but this has got like a kick butt fantasy looking cover on it still. So how did that decision come about?
Yeah, so initially the idea, so this book is all about world building and map design. It is, it's really focused on maps. Just that's the angle that I'm kind of taking everything at in here. But there are things in here you'll be able to apply to your prose and planning if you're doing like a tabletop game or something. So there's a lot of like, I think, broad applications. And originally the cover was just going to be like a map, basically. There were a couple of different ways that I was thinking about taking it. But yeah, that was the original plan. And I did bring somebody on to help me do that, but they ended up not being able to continue, and I had to change plans. So
Oh shoot.
initially, I thought maybe I would just do my own cover for this one, but as I started to think about it some more, I was like, who am I trying to attract to this book?
Mm-hmm.
It's it's folks like yourself. It's folks who are like in the chat, for example. It's people who are writing epic fantasy and space operas and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to do a cover that was a little closer to what those books looked like.
Yeah.
So that it would, look a little bit more like the kinds of books it was talking about. And not just like, a stuffy nonfiction book. Not that
Yeah.
not that the nonfiction books are stuffy, but I think that's
Right.
the
Right.
perception we get when we
Right.
see like,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. So I kind of threw away all the stuff that I had previously been doing, and I started looking at other artists, and I ended up deciding to work with Bracken, who had a really cool idea of taking the maps that are on the cartographer's desk and then like turning that into the back cover.
So cool.
It was just like I came up with the two dragons idea because
Ah.
it relates to the content of the book, where I
Mm-hmm.
talk about like different ways we can interpret dragons as a part of our stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, okay, that's cool, we'll use that, but like for the main content, what if we did this? And yeah, I was so on board.
Oh, yeah, it
um
looks great.
yeah, and I think I sat on this cover for like a year before I showed it to anybody. It was
Really?
awful.
How did you hold it in?
I got busy with other stuff. I got I was
That
too
happened.
tired.
That's fair. That's fair. Oh man. Well, I think it looks awesome, dude. You nailed it, and your artist nailed it. And I just, yeah, it's just cool because us fantasy lovers, we just love cool covers like this because it's like a piece of art too.
Mhm.
So it's that extra little pull at somebody to grab it because not only is it the content awesome and helpful, but then you have the sweet cover that you're like, I gotta have that on my shelf anyway, and it's gonna help me out. So well done, my friend. Well done. I think it
Thank
came
you.
out good.
Yeah, it's still, I will say, it's still a little bit of a work in progress. I haven't 100% narrowed down
Right.
the
Yep.
back cover text,
Yep.
and there's still a few things that need to be done, but that won't happen until probably early next year as I begin to like assemble everything. Because like I don't even know how many pages this is going to be yet, because we
Right.
keep, so it's currently in the Kickstarter. You can go back at there right now if you want until the Kickstarter ends. October 21st is the last full day. There will be a few hours after that as well. But like part of the Kickstarter is the money that we're raising is going toward additional art, which likely increases the page count.
Right. You're right.
So,
That's true.
yeah, so it's like I don't know how big this book is. I have some guesses. I think it's going to be like 400 to 500 pages, but it's really hard to tell for sure.
Dang. It could be a chunky boy.
Yeah, well, it's also like it's just not that, like I've had people who look at this and like, oh, this is going to be a like coffee table book that's going to like have huge images and I can sort of like
Yeah.
flip through like that, and it's like, no, this is a normal 6
Yes.
by 9 like regular sized book,
Yep.
because I wanted people to be able to carry it around if they needed to,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
not like worry about that too much. Like it's
I
still
like
gonna
that.
it's still gonna be my largest book. Like all of mine are 5 1/4 by 8 inches. So like it's gonna be bigger than the other stuff I've published, but yeah, I didn't want to have like this huge unwieldy like 10 by 10 inch like square whatever,
Lugging
like,
it around. Yeah.
yeah, no, that doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
Like
No, I
you need
like
to,
that.
if you need to bring it with you when you're traveling, or if you just want to like prop it up on your desk while you're working, like it shouldn't take up the entire desk.
Yeah, no, I think that was a good choice because I wondered that at first too. Because this kind of stuff, usually you're right. It is like the huge, big, it's like these. Where's it at? Yeah, like those Game of Thrones ones. This big old
Mm-hmm.
huge thing. Like just trying to look through this, it's like it's so hard to hold. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool, but it's not very useful. And this is a useful book. You're going to be wanting to use it all the time. So I think that was a good choice.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely like it's one of those considerations that you don't think about when you go into
Right.
publishing is like how does it feel to hold
Yeah.
books of certain sizes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which yeah, I'm happy we ended up at a 6x9 size.
Yeah. I think it's
Which
a
like
good
is still
choice.
big enough. Like there's a ton of images in
Oh
this.
yeah.
We've got over 120 maps and
Oh, no way.
diagrams and
That's
everything that
cool.
is in full color will be printed in full color. So like you're still going to be able to, I think, see and read those fairly
Oh
well as
yeah.
well to see all those
Yeah.
examples.
That's awesome, man. All right. So Kickstarter, before we dive into all the parts of the Kickstarter and everything you're offering and all those things, tell me a little bit about how did you decide to go that route? Did you think that from the start with this project, or was
Yeah.
it something that came to you after you started? From the start?
Yeah, so for this project in particular, it is very niche. It is not just,
Hmm.
uh, this is not just a nonfiction book. It's a
Right.
nonfiction book specifically for fantasy and sci-fi, especially fantasy, I think, just because,
Hmm.
you know, most sci-fi books don't really have maps as
Right.
examples, but
Right.
there are a
Yeah.
few.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like marketing to a subsection of people, and it's not just fantasy authors, for example, or tabletop game masters. It's people who are doing that who also are really interested in world building and maps and stuff like that, which
Hmm.
I think like everybody has some interest when they get into this stuff. But
Yeah.
there's a difference between somebody who is interested and somebody who like wants to read 110,000 words about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's a good point. There's a distinction. Yeah.
so like a big part of it is just I needed to extend my marketing reach.
Hmm.
And Kickstarter does that decently. Like I think Kickstarter at this point is no longer a crowdfunding tool. It is a marketing tool
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
happens to have crowdfunding as a part of that, as like a
Right.
convenient way for people to reserve their copy or something.
Hmm.
Um, so that was a huge part of it, is just because like my audience to begin with is small,
Hmm.
and I also knew that uh within that audience a lot of people are following me for digital extremities. They're following
Right.
me for the new fantasy stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
They're not following me for any of this. So
Right.
the people who are following me, who have backed it, who have shared it and everything, like super appreciate that. Like this is the Kickstarter has been a success, and it's in large part because of everybody's help. And you know I absolutely recognize that, and I appreciate it so much.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really felt I needed to expand my reach, and Kickstarter was a really good way to do that. I had previously done Kickstarter once when I was doing a little bit of game design stuff. We had done a Kickstarter for a card game that I
Oh,
designed.
cool. I didn't know that.
Um,
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, that's some deep lore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had done that several years ago, and I knew a lot of people who had done Kickstarters for books specifically. So I had a little background. I had people I could ask questions for,
Hmm.
and it's just like it was one of those things where it's like this has always been the plan. It's like kind of been a no brainer to do it this way. It was just a question of how successful would it be, how much attention would it get, when was the right time to share it, because at one point I was delusional and I thought this book would be ready to be published this year and do a Kickstarter like in spring. That
Yeah.
didn't happen for a lot of reasons. It was not
Right.
ready. it needed a lot more time to be edited, and I began reaching out to other people. I mean, as is on the back cover, in that white box at the top.
Mm-hmm.
There are dozens of other people besides me who have contributed to this in some way. Some people have been interviewed by me, and I have quotes from them in the book talking about how they approached world building or how they illustrated their map or something like that. Some of them have provided images for me to use as examples in the story. Some of them, I illustrated a map for them, and then I reached out and I was like, "Hey, can I use it for this?"
Yeah.
Because it is their map at this point.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, you're gonna see as you go through this, a lot of the images are from other people. Actually, actually, Dave just popped in the chat.
Let's say Dave.
I interviewed him for this book. He's in here,
Nice.
talking about different ways in which his magic system and his world deals with travel and things like that. So like there's a lot of different aspects to this. There's a lot of different people involved, and I needed that extra time to sort of like fine tune all of it. I mean, it literally, as recently as I think like this weekend, I got my final couple of additional like interview quotes and image use request forms signed and all of that. I was waiting on that from Ryan Cahill and Cartography Bird, who were absolute champions and putting up with me and all of that like last minute.
You got it done though.
Yes, we did.
Nice. That's awesome. All right. So let's see. Do you want me to pull up the Kickstarter page so you can talk through it, or do you feel like you know all the perks and everything that you offer?
If you would like to pull it up, we can scroll through it and show people what it looks like.
I feel like that'll be better if we do that.
I mean, I can recite it basically.
I'm sure you can.
It might be useful for other people to
see it as you talk. Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, I'm in Kickstarter. Just waiting for it to load. Here we go. All right.
One thing I will add as you're pulling that up as well, the Kickstarter is for both the digital and the hardcover print version. The hardcover version, as I mentioned, is full color. And that is also, you can order it internationally. It's probably, I genuinely just didn't want to deal with all of the complexities of international shipping. So it's just a flat like $10 shipping cost for everybody, no matter where you are outside the US. And it's going to get shipped to you directly from the printer, which saves me money. Which is also why there's no signed copies through the Kickstarter, unfortunately. But by not doing them, everybody is saving money. So
yes, that is good. All right, I'm gonna try share this tab instead. Let's see how it goes. All right, did it show up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, I'll scroll through here. So so this talks about the book.
Yep. And how the book is broken up into 3 sections.
Yeah,
so
3 parts.
Part 1, which is all about world building, and that talks about maps, but I don't think it like requires you to be using a map or to be illustrating a map. Like that section is kind of applicable to both prose and maps. Actually, the book was previously called something to the effect of like a guide to map design or something. And I had a beta reader, Artifexian from the channel of the same name. He was kind enough to read through it, and he was like, your title is not good because there's so much in here that is not about strictly about maps,
right?
Even though so much of it is. So I actually ended up, at his suggestion, changing the title because of that. So it's a little more broad now, and because the content is. Anyway, that first part is all about world building. And there was also like, it's a lot of geography, hydrology, climate science and like, you know, just enough to give you detailed information about how some of these things work so that you can apply it to fiction. I am not a climate scientist. I am not a geologist. Like none of those things are me.
Yeah.
But, you know, we are able to talk about it in depth enough for our purposes. Part 2 is all about the flora, fauna, the people who live here, because, you know, the environment can sometimes significantly affect what things are available to people.
Oh yeah.
What, you know, wild game is there to hunt, and, you know, food to forage, or, you know, the less like Earth you get, the more alien the plants and animals can become, and the different cultures can appear. And there's a lot of talk about things like, you know, if you're doing like a political fantasy, what should your borders look like, and how might they have changed over time? Because I think that's something people sometimes forget about, is like, you know, the borders appear as they do in this moment. They were likely something different 50, 100 years ago, you know, depending on how much they're changing in your society. So understand, like, having a sense of that history, I think, can be a really cool way to deepen your world building.
Yeah.
And of course, like,
Dave says how Dave doesn't understand horses and travel time.
Yeah, that was one thing we talked about in our discussions. Yeah, that was a fun one. And like one of the fun things about Dave's setting, I think, is like the way there's these oceans that are so difficult and dangerous to navigate. You simply cannot navigate them unless you have a mage who can control the water.
Right.
Which is like a really cool wrinkle to put in like an otherwise ordinary type of travel.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so we have world building, life, and then the final part is all about map design. This is like the dedicated map design section where we are talking, you know, this is not a how to draw book. It's more about
I like that you put that in there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's important because there are so many how to draw a fantasy map. Because like that's, I think that's the thing people think to search for.
Right.
There is another layer of that where it's like, how do you place your text in a way that's legible? How do you like pick what kind of map to do? Like one of my favorite things to ask somebody, you know, people will come to me sometimes and be like, I want a Tolkien-esque fantasy map. And it's like, that's cool. I'm going to stop you for just a second. Is that what you need?
Yeah.
Because, you know, for example, with Copperskin Oaken Lungs, I needed a very localized map of one town because that's where everything takes place.
Yeah.
For, I mean, this is not fantasy, but for Animus Paradox, you know, you don't like the kinds of maps that exist in this world are road maps.
Right. Yeah. Like city. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's what we did.
Yeah.
So like I think the type of map is a really important question. There's one anecdote in the book where I recall talking with author Robin Dabney, who I illustrated some maps for her sequel, that the second book that she was publishing. She came back to me and she was like, I want to make these changes. And also there's this one mountain that people climb in the story, and I really want to like get a close-up look at it, just like zoom in on the current map. And I was like, that kind of sounds boring. Can I convince you of something else? And she's very kind and very open to ideas. So she's like, yes. And I was like, what if we do because like this is like the biggest mountain in her setting.
Yeah.
What if we do like a Mount Everest style trail map showing the path the characters take up this place?
That's awesome.
She was like instantly, yes, let's do it.
That's so much cooler.
Yeah, and like it works on so many levels of like, it's good for the story.
Yeah.
It's more interesting to look at like as a reader. And you know, if we're like, when you are a small, like she's not indie author, she's publishing with Regal House. But it's, you know, she's I would say like a small or maybe like mid list possibly. I mean, she's working with me directly. I'm not working with her publisher on this.
Right.
Like she's doing a lot of this stuff and the marketing on her own. So it's like
Yeah.
this is a really good thing, I think, to be able to have in your back pocket to share on social media and like,
Oh,
hey,
for sure.
this mountain is from my book. The people
Yeah.
climb it. Here's the path
Yeah.
they take. And like something that looks a little bit different, you know?
Yeah.
So like that kind of stuff is also always on my mind of like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, these tokenist maps are awesome. They're good for a reason. They accomplish a lot and people like them. But if you can do something that looks a little bit different, helps you stand out, that's kind of just a win-win.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Definitely she could use that in marketing and stuff. You're 100% right. So
Yeah,
very cool, man.
I think that book comes out in like December, so
Oh,
I guess
okay.
you might be seeing it soon.
Yeah, I want to see that now. That's awesome. Very cool. All right, so then we got here's the art. Of
Yep.
course, we talked about that already, but it talks about the internal stuff too, right?
Yeah. Obviously the art is a big deal. Just like there's 120 images, well, more than 120
So
now.
awesome.
And I personally illustrated like probably 50 of the pieces.
Wow. Man, I didn't know you did that many of them. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean a lot of them are historical maps that are just like, you know, fair use.
Right.
A lot of them are maps that were given to me by people to use as examples. Like if we're talking about their work, we can put their map next to it as like an example of how these things kind of come together. But yeah, I mean there were a lot of examples. Like for example, there's a section where I'm talking about the way continents move, because like as you're world building or as you're doing your map, some people really like to incorporate you know, the history of how the tectonic plates have moved around and all that. It's not something you have to do, but I wanted to cover it. And one of the examples that I'm talking about in the book where we're discussing this is how like we didn't go from Pangea to what we have now. There's, you know, a steady progression of change, and at one point you know, there were two supercontinents, Laurasia and Gondwana, or Gondwanaland as it's sometimes called. And you know, there's no great maps of this. There's a couple of like approximations, but a lot of those that I found were like not clear if they were fair use, and they were like 300 pixels wide, like super, like just does not fit this format. So yeah, there were a lot of cases like that where it's like, I can't find anything that is already good to go, or what I can find is kind of complex and confusing and shows like stuff beyond what I'm trying to talk about. So I'm just going to make my own version, make that much clearer, make it for this format with this book. And yeah, so that was a lot of the impetus behind many of those. Others were like, you know, maps that I made, like, you know, the Copper Skin Oaken Lungs map is in it, the mountain map from Robin's book, and, you know, all those.
That's awesome, man. Like, let's take a step back for a second, because I didn't realize you had been doing so much map stuff for so long on your own. So how long have you been doing maps for people and stuff? Because I love your maps and your books, and I knew you did it sometimes, but it sounds like you've done it a lot. So that's pretty cool.
It's been off and on for several years. Just sort of like when I get time, sometimes I'll put something out there, or sometimes someone will come to me. I think I started doing it around 2020, give or take.
Cool.
You know, it was a combination of I illustrated a map for somebody as a gift, and then that same person turned around and was like, can I hire you to do another? And then
awesome.
Another friend reached out, someone who I think was getting a map ready for D&D campaign, and he was like, can I hire you for something? And I was
nice.
like, oh, okay.
This could be a thing.
Yeah, so I've kind of just been doing it a little bit here and there, as like I said, as I get time. I actually have 3 commissions that I'm working on right now.
Heck yeah.
I just today spoke with Alex Parker Publishing, who I did the short story collection
Yeah, yeah.
anthology with. And yeah, they have a new romantic fantasy coming out, and they kind of just like tapped me on the shoulder and they were like, "Hey, do you have time for this?"
Dude, congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. I'm amassing a small portion of my shelves back there where I have just like a little collection of maps. Actually, I want to show you. I want
Yeah.
to show you one if you don't mind.
Yeah, I would
I
love to
think it's
see
over
it.
there.
I'm going to stop sharing for a second, guys, so we can see. All right. I stopped sharing for a second so we can see up close this map you're going to show us.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Then I'll bring it back
sharing
up.
the large
Yeah.
image. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Once we start,
I was like, did you
talking
turn off
about
the
it
whole
again.
stream?
No. I don't want anyone else to see this. No, I stopped sharing
me.
the Kickstarter screen so we can see you good.
Okay. Okay, so I actually grabbed two instead of one.
Hey, that's all right. I want to see two.
So this is the first set of maps that I did for Robin for her mountain climbing YA series.
That is cool, man. Dang. Now, is this something that you've always been into and have been like honing your craft, or are you just good at it naturally? Like, that's pretty impressive.
I did some like watercolor maps back when I was probably like 20.
Wow.
So it's been off and on for 10 years.
Dang, that looks really good, dude.
I'm not 30. Like 22 years.
How old am I?
Whatever. So that was like one of my fantasy maps. Then more recently, Darby Harn reached out to me and we were talking about a separate map, which I'm working on now for like a city. And then partway through that, he's like, actually, I have a different project that's being released before that. Do you think we could do something for it? And I jumped at the opportunity because I've never done a mall directory map.
What? No way. That's actually so cool.
Right?
That's fun.
It's
wow, that's pretty good, man.
Thank you. It's a horror novel set in a abandoned mall with like the layout is supposed to be the shape of a skull.
Yeah, I was gonna say it kind of looks a little skull-like. Okay.
Yep.
I love the nostalgia that there's a Sears and a JCPenney.
Yep.
Which you never see anymore.
There's a whole bunch of like older locations as like a Frederick and Nelson.
Oh man, Frederick and Nelson.
Yeah, like because it's set I think in like the 80s or something.
That's cool.
Or maybe like the mall was supposed to have gone down in the 80s or something.
Yeah.
One of those two. But
yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been so fun to make.
It really was, and it's just one of those examples that I like to show off because it's like you can use maps in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Well, and how cool is that for your portfolio too? You've got like that street city highway map from Animus Pardox. Then you've got your fantasy one, and now you've got even a mall one you can show. Like if you whatever you need, I can do it. That's pretty cool.
It's nice to have projects that are not just like this.
Yeah,
the same thing
over and over. Yeah. Well, yeah, and like you said, it's fun for you too, which is cool. So that's good too. Keeps it interesting for you. All right, let me pull this back up so we can talk
relate
about
it to the Kickstarter. The maps from both Dead Malls and the Ascenditure. I'll try and get them on screen a little bit.
Oh shoot! Hold on.
It's fine. Here.
There we go.
Just like
dude, I love that.
give the authors their flowers,
Oh yeah, I love both those covers. That looks great.
This one was super fun. I haven't quite gotten to read Dead Malls yet, but I'm so looking forward to it.
Yes, they both sound fun.
And the back of Dead Malls is like super retro.
Got that 80s look. Yeah. Oh, dude, that's cool. I love when books do that.
Yeah. Darby's cover designer knocked it out of the park.
Oh, that's cool. I'll throw those in the description too, in case people want to check them out. That's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Very awesome. All right. All right. Now I'll
Yeah,
go back
those
to it.
those maps are also in the book that is on Kickstarter. Like
Oh, nice.
if you get
Those are
that,
part of
you
it.
will
Okay.
also see those.
You'll see the maps. Nice.
Yes.
Very cool. All right. So lots of different kinds of maps and art, and you said that the colored ones will be printed in color, which is awesome.
Yes, anything that is available in color, with like maybe there might be one or two exceptions where like the color
Mhm.
version was just a little bit harder to read or
Oh yeah.
something. Like
Right.
the
Right.
text got muddy or something.
Yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, with as much as I could, everything that is in color is going to stay in color.
That looks cool. That looks awesome. Yeah, look at that's gonna be a sweet looking book, man. Oh,
I'm really excited.
oh, me too, man. Me
And
too.
I'm also very glad. I'm going to shout out Simon and Glade Book Design. They are
Oh
handling
yeah,
the
that's who has.
interior design
Yeah.
for the book, for the print version. I could do it. I really could. It would just take so much time. Like I am not well. Like I'm I was well versed in formatting tools. I am no longer.
Right. It's smart to bring in people that are really good at stuff. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Uh,
especially with a project like this, like I don't know if there
yes.
will ever be another one.
Right.
So
It's
it's like let's
yeah.
do it right.
Yep. 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 Might as well. And then you have all these awesome people that helped you, that you interviewed, that had things in the book from it. Like that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
There's so many people.
it started funnily enough with Isaac Stewart, who is the cartographer,
That's so
the art
cool.
director for Brandon Sanderson and all of his
Yep.
stuff that he has going on, which was that was like kind of the start of it, where it's like I want this person who has so much experience to be able to
Hmm.
weigh in on a few things.
Yeah.
And then kind of like I think it was like as I was waiting for him to respond to me, because that getting responses from Isaac, because he is so busy,
Oh, I bet he's so busy.
it took several months.
Hmm.
Like I
I
think
can imagine.
it probably took like 5 or 6 months just to like get his full response.
Oh,
And then
dang.
when he had given that to me, I'm like, I am not going to ask you for a single other thing. Like, I do not possibly know how long that would take. And also,
Yeah.
you've given me so much of your time already.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so, but like while I was waiting for him, I just sort of like started reaching out to other people. And
Hmm.
as people started to respond and were excited about it, I was like, yeah, let's just keep going. Let's like bring in some other mid-list authors. Let's bring in some indie authors. Let's
Yeah.
I'm really proud that I was able to bring in like people with such a extensive backlog as
Yeah.
Isaac Stewart and Rob J. Hayes, but then
Oh,
also
yeah.
um, Aiden Chan was somebody who I found on Threads. He hasn't even published his first book yet, but like the stuff he was doing with his map for that setting,
Oh,
and in talking with him,
yeah.
like every decision about that map was like rooted in some kind of geology or something, or like the way that the rivers moved and like how that might affect the way that like cultures get divided and stuff. It's just like it was so cool
That's
to
cool.
talk with him about that. So it's like it's a huge gamut from like people who have been in publishing for years and years
Yeah.
to folks like Aiden
I
who are
love
like
that.
just getting into it.
Yeah, man. I'm looking through this list, and it's so cool. You have indie, you have trad pub
Mm.
people, you have people with a big catalog, somebody that hasn't even put their first book out. Like that's so cool. I was
Yeah.
just flying through here, and I'm like, ooh, Selene Goldenberg. I love their book. I'm
Yeah.
hoping they're working on a sequel. I'm hoping.
Yeah, Saloni was one of the first people I actually reached out to aside from Isaac. And I found out they had illustrated their own map, and I was just like, oh, this
Oh,
is
I didn't know
perfect.
that.
Like, it's
That's
going to be so
cool.
much easier.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
no,
an amazing list, man. Very
yeah,
impressive.
I'm very excited to be able to share their insights on how they approached world building and map
Mhm.
design, and like
Yeah.
folks like Amber Toro. She doesn't have at least for her currently released series, she doesn't have any maps.
Right.
It's like this sci-fi romance series, but like the stuff that she's talking about creates really interesting conversations of like, you know, when we're talking about climates in a setting, for example, what does that climate look like when it's manufactured, when it's like got, you know, it's a spaceship with air conditioning or
Boom.
something. Yeah, Umbra.
Yeah, there it is.
And so like that's just an interesting conversation to consider, I think. And
Yeah.
on top of that, like, you know, she has in her settings these sentient spaceships that start their life out as like little drones,
Hmm.
and then, you know, grow into these big spaceships that you can walk inside of and go fly out into space in. And if you were to make a map of like a floor plan of that spaceship, which is constantly growing and changing over time, like that's also like just a really interesting question. So like, yeah, that's how I brought in Amber. Was just like, I have questions for you, can we talk about them?
That's fun, man. That's cool because yeah, all these people, all these different levels of experience and different genres, like that gives you so much to talk about and ask about. Like that just gets me even more pumped for the book, man.
And a
That's
lot of different
it's so
perspectives too.
cool.
Like it was important to
Yeah,
me to bring in both authors as well as people who are just cartographers.
yeah,
Like
I
that's
love
what,
that.
like, Isaac is just a I mean, I think
Hmm.
Isaac has a book, but he's not publishing in like epic fantasy or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
Janice Ishin is a cartographer. She's done work both for like practical cartography for like I think a town where she lives or near where she lives,
hmm,
and then also for like tabletop RPGs.
yeah. Oh, that's wild, man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. That makes because I mean, you could have just tried to like write it based off of the work that you've done with maps
Mhm.
and all that. But I think it's so cool that you involve so much, so many people and so many perspectives that just makes this book even more special, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it started, right? Was
Yeah.
I began writing, it started from blogs that I was writing for
Hmm.
Campfire, all about like some kind of external considerations for when you are building a map, world
Yeah.
building. And then that turned into the book. And as I began to develop these ideas further and add more sections, you know, there's blind spots that I have
Right.
because I only have my own experiences,
Hmm.
and that's part of where wanting to bring in other people came from, and part of bringing in those people meant that. I wasn't just adding on to my existing sections. Sometimes people would give me certain answers or talk about certain topics to the point where it's like, I have to add a new section now. Like PL Stewart, for example, who I know was
Yeah.
recently on the show. I spoke with him about his series and, you know, the way that he incorporated the Atlantis myth into his epic fantasy and the way that he, you know, kept certain parts of it and diverged from other
Right.
parts.
Yep.
And that turned into a whole section about like lost worlds that you can put in your map and the different ways that you can approach them, and it drove me through a deep dive on learning about Atlantis and
Yep.
the different like forms of art that have come about from it. It's a really cool topic, and I was just like, yeah, screw it, I'm adding a whole Atlantis section now.
That's awesome.
So you can thank
Oh,
PL for that.
oh yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't leave that out. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Uh, Very cool. So let's see. Then let's get to the meat and potatoes here. We got the rewards. So tell us a little bit about you've got two main packages that people can pick from, right?
Yeah, I wanted to keep it pretty simple.
Yep.
I guess especially like since I don't do a lot of Kickstarters and I just want to make
Hmm.
sure it runs smoothly. But
Right. Yep.
basically, the first tier, the $6 tier, is just a slightly discounted uh, early like pre-order of the ebook. I think the ebook is actually gonna be like an unsung hero because you're gonna be able to like search for
Oh,
stuff.
that's so true. That's I didn't
So
even think about that.
yeah, yeah. So the ebook is going to be that, and then the cartographer, the like larger tier,
Hmm.
is also a discounted version of the print book, and then everybody who backs it will also get the ebook as
Very
well.
cool.
Um, And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's no like
Yep.
bells and whistles really to this. It's just if you would like to help support the project, if you would
Mhm.
like to reserve a copy, you can go
Yep.
ahead and do that. There are, if you're in the US, there's signed copies and
Yep.
sprayed edge copies available through the Crafty Bookstore, which is a independent store that I'm working with as well. All of that will also be contributed toward um,
Oh, that's
the
cool.
stretch goals.
Okay.
Uh, and so, you know, if you're in the US and you would like some of those extra bells and whistles, you can get
Yep.
them. I'm sort of directing everybody through there because it's just easier for me that way, if I'm being honest. Like
Oh yeah.
I do not have the equipment to do sprayed edges. I do
Yeah.
not want to fuss with like dealing with signed copies for everybody who backs it,
Right.
because like that complicates the international shipping part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This keeps it simple.
Yeah, so you can go to them if you would like
Yeah.
all of that stuff.
I have the Kickstarter and the Crafty Bookstore both linked down below
Appreciate
in
it.
the description, everybody, if you want to check either one of those out or both.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that the Crafty Bookstore stuff went towards the stretch goals too. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's just my decision. Like
Yeah,
it's not going
that's
to
cool.
appear on Kickstarter, but
Yeah,
I'm keeping track of it. You know, I'm kind of just doing mental math of adding that money
yeah,
to it whenever I'm looking at which stretch goals have we completed.
yeah.
Which we've completed the first two, which is awesome.
I know.
We're
That's so cool, man.
we're over halfway to the third, which
Yeah.
at this point every stretch goal is just more art. If like for some reason this pops off in the last week, because this is ending on the 22nd,
22nd. Yeah.
it's technically the 22nd. Get it in on the 21st though, because
Yeah, to be safe.
it's like 11 a.m. Eastern time US on the
Oh yeah.
22nd,
Yep. Yep.
which is just so much harder to explain.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
That's so true.
it's ending on the 21st. Chris is right.
Yep.
I'm wrong.
Yes. I thought that's what you said earlier.
Yeah, no, I keep going back and forth. I really should not be doing that, but but yeah, so if like for some reason it pops off at the final couple of days, I'll figure something else out, but like at this point it's just kind of like how much art can we put in?
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome, man. It's going good. That's good. And then you have add-ons, of course, of all your other awesome books.
Yep, if you're interested in any of those, you can go ahead and just include them in the Kickstarter. And actually, I did not realize this before it happened, but if you get the add-ons, they contribute to the total Kickstarter goal as well. So you're
Oh,
helping
nice.
fund those add-on or the fund
There
the
you go.
stretch goals
More
as well.
stretch goals. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go. No, I didn't see this part down here.
Yeah, so one of the add-ons is to get a map commission from me.
That's cool.
I recommend going and looking at my portfolio, making
Yeah.
sure that you actually want to work with me. But and the book is a little bit of a double-edged sword for me, because once you read it, maybe you want to go and make your own. But
Right.
but if you would like to not deal with that hassle, I'm happy to work with you and make your map. And we know I've already gotten one person to take me up on the offer, so I've already
Very
had a
cool.
chat with them about what they're planning, and we've already got a sketch started, and like it's a work in progress. So
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
yeah, it's fun.
Very cool. And then I think just there's about you part, no generative AI, and then the usual risk and challenges. But you've already written the book, so that's awesome.
Yes.
So it's not like you're just starting out or something.
Yeah, the book is written. I have to do one final edit, and I have to do a couple, like some administrative work of just like making sure all the images are ready to go. And then it's just a matter of like formatting everything at that point.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we're real close. I'm thinking it'll probably be like fully released early 2026, just to like some breathing room basically.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Copper Skin Oaken Lungs will be February next year.
Ooh.
So
probably a busy start to the year.
Probably a little gap to like give myself some breathing room.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it'll be too long after that. Like
that's exciting, man. So cool.
Yeah, and of course, so much of it also depends on how long it takes the team who's doing the print interior design
Mm-hmm.
to finish that.
Yeah.
I will be doing the digital interior design, so there will be some very tedious work of like formatting all the images for the RGB color format specifically,
Oh
and
yeah,
like because they all
that's tough.
made them all in CMYK
Yeah.
for print, so
Oh.
I have to go back and redo all that now.
Hmm.
But yeah, all the hard stuff is basically done at this point.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. You were rolling. All right, so we've gone past an hour. Do you have a little more time? I have some
Yeah,
questions I'm interested about your process for a couple things.
yeah.
Do
If
you
you
have
would like to
a
keep
little bit
going,
more
I'm happy
time?
to keep
Yeah,
going.
awesome. Okay. So two things. One about both of your books that are coming out.
Mhm.
So let's start with the Kickstarter. So for this book, doing a nonfiction book, what were some of the things writing wise that you noticed were different? Because you're not writing a story. I mean, kind of, but it's different. So like,
Yeah.
what was did anything change with your process that you noticed compared to when you were writing your cyberpunk books?
Um,
A lot
nonfiction
more
brain.
research, right?
Yeah, nonfiction brain is different than fiction
Yeah.
brain.
Okay. I
Is that
wondered.
it's
It would have to be.
it's genuinely like I would describe switching between them as a break from the other. So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
if
Okay.
I didn't know what to do for one of my fiction books, or if I was tired of working on like Animus Paradox, for
Yes.
example, because I've been working on this nonfiction thing for like
Yeah.
3 or 4 years
I say because I
off and
remember us
on.
talking about it
Yeah, yeah. So
off
like
screen about it. So
I've been working on it in some capacity for all of my other releases.
wow, that's wild, man.
and and basically if I was exhausted from working on some of that, or I just needed to change a
Yeah.
pace or whatever it is,
Switch it up.
um, I would just work on the other project, and it was different enough to the point where it felt like a break, like the break that I needed. But I was still being productive, obviously,
Yeah.
because it's just such a different thought process of in fiction the goal is to tell a story that people care about,
Hmm.
and you care about a story when the characters are compelling and you want to see them achieve whatever they're trying to do.
Hmm.
The setting is a big part of that, but I think ultimately it comes down to the characters. The plot is a big part of that as well, but you can have like an awesome plot with characters you don't really care about, and then it doesn't quite land as well.
Yeah.
Um, so you know that's kind of the goal for the fiction, whereas with nonfiction there is none of that. I don't need you to get invested in anybody. I
Yeah.
just need to explain uh geothermals to you.
Yeah.
Or textual hierarchy and how that makes it how you can lead the eye with that. um so it's a very different kind of writing.
Hmm.
And I definitely felt like I was in a different space, doing a very different thing, even though like I'm writing both of them. But
Yeah.
it's just like such different considerations, such different mindsets, such different types of research. Where like,
Oh yeah.
for fiction, if I'm writing like a scene where people are eating, I just kind of need to like know the basics of like what kinds of foods might be available at this time
Yeah.
of year, or maybe what some of the clothing might look like, and
Hmm.
I can kind of get by with like a very surface level understanding.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But when I'm talking about plate tectonics, I need a little bit deeper
Yeah.
understanding so that I can convey the information without looking like a moron or something.
Yeah.
um,
That's very true. Yeah.
and of course, like bringing in quotes from other people, I want to
Hmm.
treat those with respect as
Oh
well.
yeah.
So like there's a certain amount of um, I need this answer from you, and then I get it, and then I need to find a place to put it if I don't already have one. Structure my content, my words around your statement, so that it reads really well,
Hmm.
and isn't just like a random thing that pops out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then if there needs to be, like, some of the people I interviewed are, you know, they speak English as a second language, and so
Right.
there's some level of like, you know, the some level of editing that needs to go into it, or just like
Right.
people that made a spelling mistake or something, and that's much easier, of course. But like,
Yeah.
you know, it's a much different line to walk, and I've been very vigilant about like, once I put something in, I immediately send screenshots of it to the author or to the cartographer or whoever it was, and be like, this is what it looks like right now. Are you good with this?
Yeah.
Like, do I need to change anything? Is there anything that I'm misrepresenting? Am I
Right.
crediting you the right way?
That's
Um,
smart.
and you know, that there's been multiple rounds of that, like the initial question of like, does this look good to you?
Yeah.
But then also, like, you know, Dave was in here earlier, as he said,
hmm
he got an early look at it as well. That's
Yeah.
because he's in the book, and I'm like, here's your last chance to like tell me, because it's almost done.
Right.
Here's
Yeah.
your last chance to like look
Now
at
or
it and
never.
tell me, oh, you misspelled my name wrong, or
Right.
oh,
Right.
you took this out of context. And it's like, oh crap. But like, thankfully none of that has happened.
That's
um
good. Probably
Everything's
because you're
been,
so aware of it and so focused on it. Like that's you're doing it right.
I I try to be, I try to keep it as close to the original as possible, and to like lead in and out of that commentary,
hmm
uh without without saying anything other than like, here's another perspective to this
hmm
point. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to like say this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. Like, there's very, very little of that in the book, because I really view it like, it says it's a guide. It's not really. That's just marketing spin. Um, the book is it's a toolbox.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's like Stephen King writes in On Writing, how writers have these toolboxes of different things they can use at different times. This is the same thing, where it's like, here's a whole bunch of ideas I'm going to throw at you. You can use whatever you want, whatever you think is useful.
hmm
And I'm going to leave it at that. Like, you do what you want with this.
Right. Yeah. It's a good way to do it. Uh, that's awesome, man. All right. So along the same lines, you've written a lot of cyberpunk in your fiction, and now you're doing a fantasy. So besides obviously it being a different genre, with your writing, have you noticed like a difference in like the way that you research or prepare, or the way you plot it out, or the way that you plan it out, or as you're writing? Have you noticed a lot of difference, or is it just telling a different story?
It feels very familiar to me, but that's because the cyberpunk is actually the new thing for me. Before I
Oh,
was
okay.
writing cyberpunk, I wrote a lot see, and most of it never saw the light of day.
Oh, now I
But
want to
that's
see this old fantasy you speak of.
well, there's one story in particular, like a historical fantasy thing, that
Ooh,
I still love to death. I really
dude, I
want to
could
get
see
back
you
to it.
killing historical fantasy, man.
Yeah, I really want to get back to it one day. I
Yeah.
think maybe the rough plan is to do the sequel to Copperskin Oaken
hmm
Lungs.
Yeah.
And then I want to get back to a few ideas that I had for standalone stories
Oh,
similar to
heck yeah.
Animus Paradox,
Yeah.
like other things that are happening in that world.
Yeah.
Um, and then, if nothing else changes, I would love to get back to the historical fantasy thing that I tried
Ooh.
years ago.
Heck yeah,
Um,
dude.
I think that would be really fun, but you know, we'll see. I mean, clearly plans change,
Oh yeah.
so
One thing at a time, right?
yeah, like it's good to have a plan. I'm glad
Yeah.
that I have one that goes out so far,
Yeah.
but I'm also not like committed to it so much, in the sense of like, you know, I'm gonna ignore any other cool ideas that come up. So, you know, we'll
Right. Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Let them come to light. That's good.
Mhm.
So that's cool. Then so it's kind of like a return to
Yeah,
form for you then,
it
kind of what you were
looks,
used to before the cyberpunk.
yeah, I understand it looks very new for
Yeah.
everybody else, but for me, it's like
Right.
returning home almost.
That's
I will
awesome.
say, I will say, there is a tonal difference between them, where
hmm
like in sci-fi, I feel like I can be punchier, because
Oh
everybody
yeah.
knows what a car is. Everybody
Yeah.
knows,
That's true.
like, you
Yeah.
know, I don't have to go into a ton of detail about like the robotic
You
arm or something that somebody
yeah,
has.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, you got to explain these things, but it's a little more especially with my cyberpunk, where it's like it's not too far in the future.
Yeah, it's a little more modern stuff.
Yeah,
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 it's a little more contemporary.
yeah,
So I feel like I can be a little more punchy with descriptions
yeah.
and dialogue, and like I don't get slowed down by a lot of things
That's so true. Yeah.
in fantasy, especially here where there's like this magical apocalypse and this this technology that keeps it
Technology
at
to hold it
bay.
back. Yep,
And then at the
yep.
same time, there's these magical runes that are going on that some
Hmm.
characters are learning about.
Yeah,
And, the religious aspect to this culture.
yeah.
There's like a whole, like I mentioned before, this whole system of like the times of day and how
Hmm.
religion ties in
Very
with that.
interesting. Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, there's just more opportunities to have to slow down
Right.
and explain
World building,
something.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Which, like, I'm gonna say that Copper Skin Oaken Lungs is my longest book ever, but it's really not that long.
No,
I
no.
think the story itself is like 250 or 60
Mhm.
pages. The rest of it like is it's the glossary
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's the map and
Which
it's
I appreciate
the
that
back
glossary.
matter.
I've been
Yeah,
using
like it's one of those things where it's like I don't think I like it's not something that I feel like I desperately need. Actually,
that.
J. Patricia Anderson, who did a blurb on the back for me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they paid me probably one of the highest compliments, which was
Mhm.
like, they never felt like they needed to look at the front matter where the glossary and stuff was. And
Yeah,
I'm like, great. Like you should, like, if you're enjoying the story and you're in it, like it's
yeah,
great that you don't have to leave it. It's just kind of there as a backup,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it almost like helps set the tone in some ways of like,
yeah.
this is, a different place.
Yeah, that's kind of what it
Um,
did for me. I looked through it first, and then
mhm.
I'm kind of one of those people, though, if I know it's there, whenever I see a new word and I'm like, oh, I bet that's in there, I'm going to make sure
Yeah.
I know what that means.
It's also
Even though I know what
helpful.
it means from how you wrote it, but I
Yeah.
still always look.
Yeah, it's a good backup, and also
Yeah.
just like it's a pronunciation guide in a lot of
Yes,
ways.
I like the
Where,
pronunciation, which clearly I need because I have been saying your last name wrong for a year.
well, I mean, with so much being derived from Latvian
Right.
and a little bit from Latin,
Yeah.
um, it's just it's handy to have on hand like that way
Yeah.
there's less confusion,
Hmm.
especially and it's all kind of moot with people who are going to be listening to the audiobook
Oh
because
yeah, yeah.
I've brought in somebody who is very good at pronouncing East European
Oh, dude,
accents, and I've actually just listened to like a 7-minute clip that she sent me
yeah,
yesterday, and it's great.
so
So
good. I was gonna ask if you were doing audio for it, so there you go.
yeah,
Nice.
I'm sad Cinna hasn't popped her head in. I was
I
gonna be
know.
just like, I made this for you. No,
She's gonna be excited.
the audiobook is tough because as you are very aware, and everybody else who comes here, it is such an expense. I am
Mhm.
fortunate in the fact that my books are short, so it's
Yeah,
less of an
that helps.
expense.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like I have my other books are well, the cyberpunk books are both audio. They have audiobooks as well. There won't be one for the map design book because there's so many images in it. It's like it's there are times when the images are directly referenced and you just won't be able to see them. So
Yeah.
there's not much of a point. Um, but I mean, those other audiobooks, they've done like basically nothing in terms of returns for me. Like people have listened to them, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that they're available for people.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm thinking critically about it and about like
Right.
next steps, that plan of what's coming next and everything, audiobooks are not sustainable right now.
Hmm.
Like I'm glad to have them. I'm excited
Yep.
to be able to share Copper Skin Oaken Lungs.
Hmm.
I don't know if there will be any others for a while. Just
I
like
know. That's
real,
the hard
just like
part, right?
really because they're available and I love that.
Yeah.
But they don't make any money. They
Right.
literally, I think I've made $0.
That's
Which, like,
kind of hard to go through the whole process and
yeah,
the
like
expense and everything, and then
there's a weird balance between doing it for the art
Mhm.
and being able to at least fund the art.
Yeah, that's it
um
should be an important part. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
it's tough.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, this was an Copper Skin Oaken Lungs is an experiment
Yeah.
because the audiobooks for the other two came several months after they were
Oh, okay.
published.
So you're gonna do
The
this one
audiobook
right
for
from the
this
start.
one, I plan to have it available from day one.
Ooh, so
And
maybe
I
it'll be a
don't
difference.
know
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if that will matter, but it's at least different. It's something
Yes.
I'm willing to
So it can tell
try.
you. Yeah.
Um
That's smart.
we'll see. I need everybody who's in the chat to listen to my audiobooks on repeat.
Yes. Just
Um,
constantly all day long.
um,
Oh man.
yeah, no, it's tough, but it's an interesting problem to me. I'm hoping it does well. If not, then I'm happy for the
Right. Then there'll
10,
be
20,
people that
whoever
read
people
it. Yeah.
do check it out that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It definitely, like, you know, at least in my personal experience, talking with people, there's multiple people who have been like, oh, I didn't have time to sit down and pick up the book, but the audiobook made it so much
Yeah.
easier. And like people who have reviewed the audiobook saying like, oh, the narrators did such a great job. Like it really elevated, like
Yeah.
they clearly are working to some extent. They just,
Yeah.
the marketing isn't there, which
Yeah.
I can't really fix. It's tough for that.
Oh yeah, that's is what it is, right? But
Yeah.
I listen to the audio of both at times, and they are really good, man. They're
I
well done
appreciate that.
audiobooks. So
Yeah.
like people, if you love audio, listen to Adams because they are very good for
indie
sure.
indie audiobooks are so good. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um I've listened to a couple recently. I mean, like, I think it was Adrian M. Gibson's audiobook for
Oh,
Mushroom
nice.
Blues,
Mm-hmm.
which like
Mm-hmm.
really sold me on audiobooks as a
Yeah.
medium.
Yeah.
uh it's genuinely like better than some trad published audiobooks that I've listened to, because like
Yeah.
he's got music in his, and he's got like, you know, there was a brief section but a very memorable one where a new character is introduced, and the voice actress kind of swaps places with a professional, I think she's a professional singer. And you get a couple like stanzas of just like vocals in like this
Oh
like
wow.
old bluesy number.
No way. That's so
It's
cool.
like it's genuinely so good. I would recommend to anybody who is mildly interested in that story, check it out, the
Yeah.
audio.
I'll have to check it out. I love the book. I've read it though, but I'll have to check out the audio because that's cool.
Yeah, just like if you get a chance, I think it's probably even just like in the preview, you can like
Oh
hear
yeah, hear it.
the music intros that he
Mm-hmm.
has. It's so good. But yeah, like, you know, audiobooks are accessible by indie authors. They're very well produced in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
cases. Like, it's, you know, obviously sometimes it's somebody doing it with whatever, you know, microphone they have on
Yeah,
hand,
yeah,
and like you
yeah,
run into those sometimes too.
yeah.
But so much of it is like these are professionally done
Mm-hmm.
things, like just as worthy as attention and praise as like the indie hardcover, or, you know,
Yeah.
whatever
Oh yeah,
it is. So yeah,
yeah.
I and it's also tough though, because it's like I don't want to give Audible their whatever it is. Like, I think they make like 80%
Oh,
on every sale if you're
it's out of control.
wide. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, if you can, don't get them on Amazon.
Yeah.
I have my books on Amazon because I feel like I have to, or on
Mm-hmm.
Audible because I feel like I
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
discoverability thing. It's not a
Yeah.
financial thing.
Yeah.
If you can go through Libro, if you can go through, like, hell, go through like Libby or something. Like, I
Yeah.
don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're not personally paying for my book. I would
Right.
rather not pay Amazon.
Yeah. Right. Right. I know that's part of the problem with audiobooks right now, but what do? You just got to roll with the system that's there, or not, if it's not going to be helpful until something changes. So
Mhm.
I get that for sure. All right, man. Well, an hour and a half. Can you believe it? It always goes quick when we
It
chat,
does.
man. But you have so many cool things going on, dude, that I'm just so excited for you and for the books, because I am getting them both because I cannot wait to have them. So
I appreciate that. And thank you so much for the
dude.
time for
Anytime,
this
man.
chat and all that.
Yeah, always, man. Anytime you need to come on for anything, you just let me know, and I'm always happy to hang out with you, dude. But congrats on everything. And everyone, remember, in the description, we've got the Kickstarter. I've got Crafty Bookstore linked in there. And actually for both your books, because they do signed copies of Copper Skin, Oaken Lungs, which I pre-ordered through there. And I think, and I'm still trying to decide if I'm gonna do the Kickstarter or the Crafty Bookstore for a guide to setting and design. Did I say that right? Or is it design and setting? Did I say it right?
An author's guide to setting, design,
yes.
world building, and cartography.
That last part I forgot.
Because nonfiction books need to be very
they
specific.
have to say everything. Yes. That's how they are. Yes. So yeah, but that's cool that if I do end up doing the Crafty Bookstore, that it counts towards the stretch goals. So that's cool. That's good. Yeah. But all that's in the description, everybody, including the cyberpunk books. If you missed those and have not checked them out, go check all that stuff out. Support Adam and his awesome things he has going. And yeah, man, I'm excited for you. Thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys were awesome. And Adam, before we go, is there anything you want to share? The floor is yours. Is there anything you want to shout out, share, anything I forgot to mention that you want to talk about?
Nothing you forgot. One thing I have not marketed or told basically anyone very well. I just want to throw out as well, if you are interested in Copper Skin, Oaken Lungs, I'm running a pre-order sale on it until it releases. It's 40% off on the ebook.
Wow, nice.
So if you want to just try it out, see what my writing is like, if you're interested in getting a start on this new weird little fantasy post-apocalyptic setting,
so good.
You can go ahead and do that as well.
Nice.
I think it's $2.99 for the discounted.
You can't beat that, man. That's awesome. All right, there you go, people. It's linked down below. Check it out. And yeah, everybody in the chat, have a good night. You guys were awesome. If you're watching on replay, thank you as well. And Adam, my friend, thank you. Everyone have a great night. I will see you in the next one. And as I always say, until I do, devour your TBRs, be brave, be beautiful to one another, and be beastly. We'll see everybody